This is Tuesday, May 19th. There are 50 days until San Diego Comic-Con 2015. Welcome to the SDConCast, the official podcast of the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog.
V-A-N-U-H-T-E-E, go. Oh my god, I love my girl, and I love I love her color scheme, it's pink and purple street. I love all the posts I make and the million comments that they make. I love the express and I love this one.
Okay, I am your host, James Riley, and joining me on this week's podcast is my partner in crime, Carrie Dixon, who is apparently still trying to make fetch happen.
Always trying. Hey, everybody.
Also joining us and returning, Ben Kucharski, the fabulous Funko fan, as you can see by his wall of Funko.
Hi, guys.
Hello. And our special guest this week is Chris Sully, one of the nerdiest fooers on the planet from the Nerd Foo.
Thank you for not saying F you. Appreciate that.
I think we might have a little battle for who is the ultimate Funko fan here. Going on with you two.
You can see more of. Can you see more of Ben's than Sully's?
I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah, I
think the problem is that Sully actually has some blank space there that could be filled.
Not for long.
That is the right attitude.
As soon as Comic-Con gets here.
Uh-oh.
Wait, so I gotta ask, Sully, do you know what your count is?
I lost count a while back, but it's somewhere between 300 and 400.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
You win.
You're only seeing a small portion of the museum here.
I have 103.
Nice. Broke the century mark.
That's awesome.
I'm sure Funko thanks you.
And you. Okay, so the SDConCast is brought to you by 3D Light Effects, the makers of the innovative cordless 3D deco lights. Find the perfect Marvel, Nickelodeon, Hasbro, or Disney light to decorate your or your child's room. And now you can pre-order the brand new Star Wars lights on Target.com, available in Darth Vader, Yoda, or Boba Fett. Visit 3dlighteffects.com or our show notes to find out more. Okay, so this week, I think we're going to discuss something that is near and dear to Carrie's heart, and that is announcing panel contents before the con starts.
Well, and really the opposite of that, not announcing.
Right. Not announcing.
Okay, so I want to preface this by saying that I completely understand that it is an amazing feat that Comic-Con International manages to put together this crazy, complicated schedule with so many moving parts, and it's just as amazing that like the studios managed to bring as many people together as well as they do. So, love Comic-Con, the panel people do an amazing job, all of that. But I am really not a fan of the way that the last couple years, several of the Hall H panels, and it seems to only affect the Hall H panels, where they're just not announcing what they're bringing. 2 years ago, it happened with Fox. They kind of announced, not through Comic-Con International, but like 2 or 3 days before the convention through one of the trade websites. They basically said, we're going to bring Planet of the Apes and something else. I know they didn't announce X-Men, but that was like all that they did. So that's not really getting out to most of the attendees for what's going to actually be in that panel. Instead, on Comic-Con International site, all it'll say is like 20th Century Fox, TBA.
The infamous TBA.
That's right, the infamous TBA.
And you know what? That would not be a problem if they actually aid.
Correct, yeah.
But they don't.
Correct. And so that was 2 years ago. And then last year, Fox actually did announce their stuff, which thank you, Fox. Paramount Legendary, though, didn't. And in fact, you can even go look right now at Paramount Pictures' panel description on the MySced website, and it says Paramount Pictures will provide an inside look at their upcoming films. Attendees will view exclusive footage presented by special guests and hear the latest news for some of the year's most anticipated movies. If you heard that, like, who would go to that?
I would not.
No one would, and
No.
we know that because no one showed up.
Right.
It makes absolutely no sense to me that, like, I understand that you might not know until right before the panel starts, like maybe even a couple days before what you're going to announce. But you can do something. You can push it out on your social media. You can announce through a website like Fox did. Like, to me, there is no excuse for just never announcing anything. What do you guys think?
So let's go into why or how does it happen. And basically, since it's mainly the Hall H panels that do this, and that's the biggest room, so it's going to be, you know, the most people affected. The main reason it happens is the studios just don't know sometimes more than a week or two out what they're actually going to bring, because they don't know necessarily which actors will be available to be guests. They don't know which directors will have approval of a trailer or footage that is coming out, or if they'll even have it filmed when it's in production.
Right.
There's a lot of actual production issues that go into it as to why or why not something can be announced.
Right, because
we understand that.
Yeah, because unlike a TV show, where a TV show, you know, you pretty much got your actors set for 9 months out of the year. Obviously, movie actors are a totally different ballgame.
Right.
Yeah, but when they do find out a week or two in advance, why not share it with us then so we can plan and adjust and be prepared? So is it more that they're trying to hold back and surprise us?
Which we get that as well. The surprise is actually one of the things that we enjoy. But what is, you know, what about the announcement, like you said, of Fox doing it like 2 days before on a website? Push it out to more places. Put it on the sked. Put it in your social media. Get it out there. Push the email out to all of the people that are press at Comic-Con, who will then push it out. Announce it the night before, but do something. Let people know at least some of what you're presenting so that people can make informed decisions.
Well, and going back to what Sully said and what you kind of said too, James, you can, like, Fox actually didn't even announce X-Men. They announced the other two that they were showing, and so they still had that huge surprise element, but people at least entered the room knowing, like, some idea of what they were getting into.
Right.
And that X-Men moment was one of, like, my top 5 all-time favorite Comic-Con moments too. That was amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When they just kept coming up onto the stage.
Yeah, there were like 20-something chairs out there.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my God, they're bringing everybody. And that's the great part of a surprise.
Right.
But
there's
not
a difference.
Even being able to decide to be in the room is where there's the problem.
Right. I wrote this last year, but I feel like there is a huge difference between offering up surprises in your panel and having the entire contents of your panel being a surprise. That's just completely different.
Yeah, that's very valid.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. I think it would be great to have, you know, 2 of your 3 or 2 of your 4 panels listed in there, and then just say, you know, and a surprise, or maybe more, or and more. Just something to the effect that lets you know that, you know, it's worth your time to be there, and it's quite possible that you're going to get a surprise that could blow your mind, or a surprise that, maybe you could live without. But it's good to be informed.
Yeah, it is.
And we have a comment from Dustin. Dustin said, I was actually there for the Paramount panel, and I loved it because actual fans for Paramount films, judging off the release list, we got an absolute treat. No camping, no issues. And I agree. You know, I think it would be fantastic to not have to camp, not have to fight, and get an amazing treat. But at the same time, and maybe I'm naive, I am not usually a fan of studios. I'm a fan of actors or actresses, directors, writers, but not necessarily studios. And at the same time, you have to figure out, is it worth your time? You know, is your Comic-Con time worth a maybe surprise?
Yeah, if anything, they're just certain studios we dislike. I'm not mentioning any.
Well, and let me just say, do you know who I think probably didn't love the Paramount panel last year? Paramount, when they had only 1/4 of a full room.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you got a great treat, but if I was Paramount and literally only the room was only 1/4 full, I'd be sitting there going, is this even worth my time?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and time translates to money. I mean, and money translates to so many other things. I mean, people traveled there. People made times in their schedules. It couldn't have been worth it. There's no way.
Right. If you're making a decision, if you're a fan of Interstellar and you're a fan of Once Upon a Time, which I think was on Thursday, wasn't it? No, that was on Friday. But whatever show was on Thursday in Ballroom 20, if you see the cast list of who's going to be there in Ballroom 20, and you see Paramount listing, and there's, a very slight chance that Interstellar is going to be there, because, for one, Nolan doesn't come to Comic-Con very often, if at all, so you can't assume it's going to be there. McConaughey's never been to Comic-Con before. So if you're trying to weigh the decisions of where to go, then you obviously are going to pick the one that's, nailed it. I can go there and see what I want for sure, instead of go here and maybe see something that I want.
Yeah.
So, as far as not announcing, who does it help? And honestly, not announcing anything, I don't think helps anyone.
I don't think so either.
It helps only the people who are in that room that made the decision to go and then get the good surprise. But only if there's a good surprise.
And again, who is to say that surprise will be back again the next year? Because seriously, if I was Paramount and I saw that small of attendance, I would not be coming back this year.
Right.
And then I feel bad for being a little ignorant, but I remember it was the first panel, I think, of Thursday was the one that Benedict Cumberbatch went to, and we sort of
animation.
Penguins in Madagascar.
Yeah, and we predicted like a line until the end of the world with Cumber people. And
no, you just walked right in. Yeah.
And it didn't happen, and that is like astounding. So I mean that definitely speaks to it.
Yeah. It does.
So if it doesn't help very many people, who does it hurt?
I think it hurts everyone. I think it hurts the studio. I think it hurts the fans. I think it hurts everybody.
And honestly, I was just thinking about this, and who it hurts is actually a trickle-down effect. Because if you don't have... Because what really the panels are, besides they're awesome and you get to go see them all, is it's to get people into different rooms, because that's how they manage to fit that many people into the convention center. You have to have 6,000 people sitting in Hall H and 4,000 sitting in Ballroom 20, so that not all 50 or 60 or however many thousand of people are there that day are all on the show floor.
Right.
So if you don't fill up those rooms and produce panels that are going to get people in there, then there are other places causing problems. Yeah. And so it will trickle down to every aspect of the convention and cause problems for anyone, even people who never even thought of going to Hall H. It probably caused them some kind of a problem when they were trying to get somewhere on the floor. Yep. Or to another panel that was their first choice, but someone else's fifth choice, because all the other stuff was booked up after they didn't care about Hall H. And then they went to that one, and then someone else doesn't get into there. So it really does hurt everyone down the line.
I think you're right. So what is the solution?
I think earlier things mentioned were announce something, even if you don't want to announce everything.
Yep.
Give us at least a taste of what's going to be there, so you can have even a slightly more informed decision. That'd be probably the first thing and the best thing that they can do.
Yeah. I think Comic-Con International, quite honestly, needs to be a little more strict with the studios, and just say, if you can't do it 2 weeks beforehand, that's fine. But you need to give us something at some point. It can't just be blank. Even Fox last year, Fox actually did announce their own panels on their own, completely outside of CCI. And if you go and you look at 20th Century Fox's presentation on my sched last year for CCI, completely blank, even though like the panels got announced. So that to me is just like, it's just not the two branches communicating. So I think CCI really needs to kind of pin the studios down.
Yeah, and you have to figure the program books, I mean, I don't know what timelines are like, but the program books are probably printed, I don't know, a week beforehand, maybe 2 weeks beforehand. Well, because you know, at least specifically the pages with the grids, you know, the time grids of who's going to be where, when, you know, and there's the situations where something changes at the very last minute, and then before you walk into the exhibit floor, they have like those 1 or 2 page printouts that can kind of let you know what changed from the day before. And yeah, you know, like at some point we should be made aware of something, be it the website, the last minute printouts, something.
Well, and my SCAD actually has a little updated tab that you can click on, and it'll show you all of the panels that have been updated or canceled or anything at all like that. And so, I mean, that to me, if they can do it with other panels, there's no reason they can't do it with Hall H stuff.
Yeah, it's 2015. We have no problem disseminating information when we get it.
Correct.
You can put it on Twitter, Facebook, you name it. They can get it out there.
Yeah.
After the dark years of internet connection back in 2010-ish, when nothing got out of Hall H quickly, all the signals are a lot better now, and yeah, we can get word out pretty quickly almost anywhere, including inside Hall H day of.
I'm pretty sure tweets I sent in 2012 still haven't gone out from Hall H. I'm waiting.
Yeah, it was bad for a few years.
So it looks like we have a couple more comments. This one I might censor a little bit, but it says something to the effect of, honestly though, if a studio were to tell you that this movie or that movie were going to be there, that might
just read the whole thing.
More of a reason for you to skip it, and I guess that is a good argument. Maybe not telling allows them to trick some people into coming.
Right, so this is about Paramount and the SpongeBob and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which were also there, in addition to Interstellar, which
you cannot
SpongeBob
tell
movie
me, though.
has a lot of fans. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have a lot of fans, but the movie doesn't really. And obviously Interstellar has a lot of fans. If you had said those two plus more, I don't think less people would have been there, because people would have gone for the SpongeBob. And you know, this is where, you know, where there's that line, yeah, of will people, less people there if there's a surprise coming that people don't know about. I think you need to give people something, and that will help. If you don't give them anything, there is no reason at all to go.
And look, Paramount actually brought good stuff. They brought Christopher Nolan and Matthew McConaughey for their first ever Comic-Con appearance. First ever. You cannot tell me that people would not have like gone to that room.
But what Dustin is saying is, if they had not announced that and only announced SpongeBob and Turtles, which for a certain segment of Comic-Con fans would be stay away movies.
Yeah.
Would that have hurt more, or been about the same, or helped get people into the seat?
For the sake of agreeing with Dustin, I am all for skipping SpongeBob and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so he's right in some regards.
But as an actress-type person, a photographer like me, I may have actually wanted to go to that because of people who may have been on the panels.
Right.
That may be something that would entice me to go. If I know, like last year when there was certain panels that all they had was the director or the producers, those ones for me are not as exciting as ones where we know that they're going to be bringing actors. Even if they can't announce who they are, if they're bringing actors, that's a better proposition for me. So if they were announcing that cast were going to be there from their movies, I would be more likely to go. So for me, it's a good thing, even if the movie itself is not one I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I agree. And then Jennifer asked a question. Do you think lack of good swag from studios at Hall H in recent years has hurt?
I don't think so. I think that because how often does Marvel give out swag? I mean, beyond a T-shirt or something.
They did
They
last
don't.
year. They did last year.
But we got like a shirt or something, right?
It was that print, the Guardians of the Galaxy print.
Right,
Yeah.
the print. Okay, that was good.
That was
because-
good.
for the Guardians of the Galaxy fans. But people weren't lining up for days to get a print. They would go there to see the panel, even though they didn't have a clue what was going to be in the panel. They knew that there was going to be a certain movie, most likely, and they went. So that's what did it. I don't think the swag itself is the deciding factor. It's the bonus.
It's a pleasant surprise if you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There have been years that have been better. I can't even. The years all blur together. Whatever the year was that J.J. Abrams gave out the Slusho T-shirt or whatever. I remember whatever that panel was. You got like 4 or 5 shirts if you sat through that.
Yeah, there was a few good years of T-shirts, around I think 08 through like 08 and 09. I think were really good T-shirt years.
Yeah, and then most people, I'm sure, the swag is not a deciding factor. But if I have a hole in my schedule or I'm trying to figure out this versus that, I almost always went to the Game of Thrones or the HBO panels because I loved their swag bags. So that's me.
Yeah, you get a lot of goodies in the Game of Thrones ones.
Yeah.
And True Blood, those two always had those bags where they just threw stuff with a bunch of stuff in.
Yeah.
HBO does it right.
Mm-hmm.
Although one of my favorite swags, just for the enticement factor, would have been 04-ish for The Exorcist, the New Beginning or whatever. You got a little bottle of holy water. Seriously, a little bottle about this big of holy water was what they handed out. It was interesting.
That's nuts.
There are some other like really interesting ones. One of those, and I apologize to the movie, one of those B or C horror movies had a thumb drive that was a bloody thumb. I liked that one.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then the year that they were promoting the seed of Chucky, it was like a talking keychain where Chucky just said filthy, filthy things.
Oh, man.
So some of those are fun.
Okay. Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
So basically, we're all in agreement that they need to do something and not leave panels blank. That it's only going to hurt the specific panel involved.
Yeah.
And again, we don't care if it's like the full 2 weeks beforehand. But if it is the morning of your panel and you have not announced anything about it, you have done something terribly wrong.
Yeah.
I agree.
I would assume that you know the day before at least what you're bringing.
Yeah. You would assume.
People have to fly there, right?
You would hope. They're just pulling people randomly from behind the curtain. Come on.
Who's back there? Who's here for something else?
We'll make a movie with y'all later. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go on and do a quick second topic for today, since we have Sully on here and we can do this. First timer tips. So let's go with the first one. What is your number one must-do at Comic-Con that first-timers may not know about?
You want me to start it off?
Sure, go ahead.
I put a lot of thought into this one, and it's something I've shared for the last few years. I tell everybody to talk to the people around you, whether or not it's because you have a question or it's just because you're standing in line and you got some time to kill. But I have made lifelong friends, people from our first year at Comic-Con that we still talk to on a regular basis that have helped us get tickets and hotel rooms. They're the same type of fan that you are. No matter which line you're standing or which area, they're there for a reason. It's probably the same reason that you're there. And you can make some great friends and make the con so much more pleasant by just talking to the people around you.
Exactly. That is an awesome one. I love that.
Me too.
I agree. And I have to suppress my stranger danger. I turn off my stranger danger thing at Comic-Con and remember that this is a totally safe place for the most part. But in real life, I'm a stranger danger person.
Comic-Con is just very different. Like, I would like to hope that none of us are camping out on the sidewalk on our normal weekends.
No.
I'll speak for yourself.
Come on, I only camp out on the grass. I don't use the sidewalk. There has to be some grass.
I'm a Ballroom 20 kid. We don't get grass.
Cold, hard concrete.
That's right.
You're lucky if you get a little tent.
Pretty much, yeah. All right, Ben, what is your number one must-do advice that you would give a first-timer?
This is a pretty generic tip, but mine is the external battery for your cell phone and or laptop and or tablet. You can never have enough juice ever, ever, ever. Bring it. And you know, we've talked about this in guides in the past, and I think we've maybe even had links, but you can get them for like $20 on Amazon or whatever.
And gauge what you need by your usage. If you are on that thing all day long, doing pictures and tweets and all that, get a bigger one. You're going to need it. I know that I tend to go through probably a minimum of 2 charges in a day.
Yeah, and I think the thing that people might miss or might not know about is I think that there's a technology issue where you're fighting for tower time, and I think that drains your battery faster and things like that. So just always have too much.
Yes, always overdo it.
Yes, agreed.
All right, Carrie.
All right, well, on the opposite of overdoing it, my advice to a first-timer would be for each day, pick like 1 or 2 things that are your absolute must-dos. And don't try to cram in like 8 or 10 things. Just pick 1 or 2 where you know this is where I want to go, this is important to me, I'm going to make sure I do these 2 things. And then anything on top of that is just icing on the cake. Yeah, and that way you're a lot less likely to be disappointed.
I've made myself crazy in the past, so I think that's really good advice.
Yeah, it's definitely because there's just not enough. There's not enough time in the day to do anywhere close to what you would like to do.
Yeah.
And the clock is always ticking. I always feel like there is that 24 clock from the show right above my head as soon as Comic-Con starts, and it's just ticking down every single second, you know, boom, boom, all the time. Because that is those 4.5 days are there and then gone, and you won't even realize it. It seems like it's lasting forever while you're there, and then they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish I had that sound effect loaded of the clock ticking down. That would have been funny right now.
I know. That would have been awesome. But yeah. So,
all right,
this is a good one. So let's go with M. Nelson here says, first-timers need to know to ask at least 5 con volunteers their question on where something is or how the lines work, because you'll get 2 good answers, 2 incomplete ones, and 1 bad one. You need lots of opinions before you get to the correct one. And this goes back to what Sully said. Talk to the people in line, because you may find someone who actually has gone through the process and can give you tips. If you haven't already talked to someone in security or whatever, ask people around you. This is where being a little bit more friendly than usual, if you're not that type of person, like Ben, then this will help. This will only help you.
Yeah.
If you talk to people, because other people will let you know what's going on. So thank you, M. Nelson. That's definitely true. And yeah, they have to hire so many security people, and obviously they have to tell the top of the security chain, this is what we want to happen, who then has to disseminate it to the managers, who then give it to the shift managers, and then it gets down to the actual security people. And you know that things are lost along the way, which is why you get different answers.
Well, not only that, but there's just so much information at Comic-Con. You know, if you're asking somebody up in, like, I don't even know, if you're asking a security person over in Indigo Ballroom, like, where is the line for Ballroom 20 starting? Like, they may not know, because that may not be anywhere on their radar for what they're doing that day, you know?
Right.
That's valid.
So, so then the next one is Dustin says pick up a fuel rod at SDCC for the charging issue. They have them at the airport as well. best piece of advice for charging, you can swap them out at the con when it runs out of battery. It comes with a charging cable. That is actually a good idea.
Oh.
It is especially a good idea for people who don't camp out in one particular place, because as you're moving around, you can then switch it out as you're going from place to place. So if you move a lot, that's probably a really good thing. And then you also don't have to worry about, is yours charged at night or whatever. You just go get a new one. And then Jean Lucero had a question, which was actually a comment, which was, I would like to add to stay hydrated and keep snacks in the backpack. And that is actually my #1 tip. And that's about food and water. There's that whole 3-2-1 thing or whatever it is for Comic-Con. I don't remember exactly what it is. But basically, have food and have water all day. If you have to have snacks, make it something that has, preferably some protein in it. Have at least one really good meal in the day. For me, that's usually dinner. I like to. That's why I don't. Recently, in the last few years, I don't like buying tickets or going to any of the nighttime things that I plan, because I like to actually sit down and have dinner with my wife and friends who are all there, who I mainly get to see that one time a year. It's a really good time to sit down and actually eat, and then also socialize. But start with something in the morning, have snacks, make sure you take either a bottle of water or to stop and get a drink of water as often as you can. You will forget, and that is a bad thing, so make sure you plan in advance for that. You will have a lot of problems if you don't do that.
Yeah, agreed.
And then I got a tweet on my Twitter from one of my followers, and I follow them, at Patrick Salton, had a fantastic tip, quite possibly the best tip anyone has ever had since the beginning of time. Do not wear new shoes. Do not wear new shoes. You will die. Your feet will fall off. You'll die.
I think Carrie even brings 2 pairs and switches them out.
I do, because I read a while ago that, like, when you wear the same pair of shoes, it, like, your foot indents into it, and so it's not as supportive as it could be, so you're supposed to, like, give it a day of rest. So I always bring 2 pairs, and I just swap them out. So
Smart.
There you go.
And this reminds me that at 50 days and counting, I'm going to buy a pair of shoes and start breaking them in time for Comic-Con, because all I wear in real life is Converse, and those are not Comic-Con conducive.
No.
So I
Get
do love
something
them.
with a little support.
Yeah.
Well, real quick then, what are you guys' favorite con shoes?
I don't know yet, but I would love to hear people's answers.
You don't know
I've
yet?
got Nike running shoes for me. A couple pairs, just like you talk about, and swap them out.
Yeah, it's the way to do it. I like Keen is the brand I like a lot.
I have nothing.
You got nothing.
One of
I just
the
wear whatever I have, and I suffer.
one of the people in my group, Mark, swears by Skechers. I don't know, affordable, and he says that he's never had a problem, so that might be worth a shot.
I'm telling you guys, Keen is great.
I will check them out. I will do this.
New sponsor
All right.
next week, Keen.
That's right. All right. Well, what is your #1 advice that you would tell someone not to do at Comic-Con? Let's start with you again, Sully.
Mine kind of goes back to what y'all were saying a second ago, in that you can't over-plan, but you also shouldn't under-plan.
Yes.
When I started going to Comic-Con 4 years ago, you guys were actually my first resource, listening to the podcast and reading your site, and I realized quickly by the time we got there that I did not know enough about what was going to go on, so we missed all kinds of stuff. So I got to the point where every year leading up to Comic-Con, for that 3 weeks prior, I read everything I can get my hands on and start making notes here and there and kind of building my calendar. I know I'm probably not going to do half of that, but I always have, here's the pillar of things I want to do each day, and then if that doesn't pan out, I've got a backup plan. Because who knows, I may try to get in line and I can't get an armband, so I just freed up a whole day. Now I can run over to Nerd HQ or go to the Nerdist or whatever's going on. So do a lot of planning, but don't expect to do everything you planned.
I agree.
Yeah.
James, what's yours?
I don't think I can remember. Because the con has changed so much since I started. So let me think on it while you guys answer.
All right, Ben.
I don't think I have a good answer, and I swear this isn't TMI. But I have the world's tiniest bladder, and so I plan how much water I'm consuming by how much I don't want to use the restroom 20 times while I'm there.
Yet another similarity we have.
Yay! And James is 100% correct. It is so important to stay hydrated, and you never want to find yourself dehydrated. But if you are a urine machine, just think about that.
Hashtag urine machine.
Yeah.
That's going in my notes for next time you're on the podcast, Ben.
Love it. Love it.
I like it. All right. Well, mine would be to don't underestimate the time that it takes to get you somewhere. I think, especially like as a first timer, you don't necessarily know how long it takes to get from Barn 20 to Hall H to Indigo to Nerd HQ to wherever it is you're going. I feel like unless you have seen 130,000 people in downtown San Diego, you can't really comprehend the sea of people and how long it can really take to weave your way through them. So that would be my advice for what not to do. Don't underestimate the time that it takes to travel.
Yeah. And then one other thing that I was kind of thinking of, but this is a mixed bag. Never underestimate how early you might need to get in line for something that you absolutely love.
Yes.
But then keep perspective on, if you need to be in line for 1,000,000 hours and it's just something you kind of like, maybe don't do it.
Yeah.
I think that's so true. I think, because honestly, I've stood in line before for an hour or two, and I'm like, why am I doing this? This isn't even worth it to me. Like, I don't care enough about this to still be standing here. So I think it is important to view, like, the time commitment and your passion and just kind of weigh the two and see which one comes out on top. And don't feel like you have to sit there in line if you're really going to be miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess last tip, and then we'll move away from tips. Even though San Diego's weather is gorgeous and cloudy and breezy, as a very, very actual white person, sunscreen, hats, all of the above are beautiful, beautiful things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're going to camp out overnight, it gets pretty cold out there.
Yeah.
A hoodie is a good idea. At least a hoodie.
It's strangely cold for where you are when it was 80 degrees 5 hours ago, and now it's because it's the sea air and the breeze, and it's just colder than you expect.
Yeah.
Actually, I have one more great tip I just remembered. Last year, I knew we were going to camp out for the marble panel, and we were going to be out overnight. So prior to the convention, I went to a local sporting good place and got some dollar inflatable rafts. Like single-person rafts, and I blew it up, and I had an air mattress for $1 out on the hard concrete, and everybody was laughing at me until about 4 hours in, and they all wished they had an air mattress.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and they pack nicely in your suitcase. They're easy to carry.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so my number one don't is going to be probably the hardest thing to do, and that is don't let it get you down too much if something that you really wanted to see doesn't happen. It's going to be a bummer. It's going to suck, and just try not to let it get you down too much. Go find something else that's on your list, which is one of the things that Sully mentioned is having that backup plan. That backup plan may turn into something that is also awesome. So that first thing that sucked then becomes, I got to do this other awesome thing instead. There's so much great stuff happening around that missing one thing should not ruin your weekend. And try as hard as you can not to let that happen.
I agree.
So M. Nelson has another good tip, which is to relax and have a good time.
Yeah.
It's vacation. Don't stress or obsess. It's not the end of the world if you don't see one thing, and it's not. It's gonna suck, but there's that next thing. So yeah, relax. You're supposed to be having fun. So try and keep that in mind when you're in your 11th hour of sleeping on the concrete without the air mattress.
Rookies.
So yeah.
That's right. Should have listened to this podcast.
So, yeah. So that's the don't. Okay, so I think that is a pretty good summary of good first-timer tips there. Is there anything else we wanted to mention?
I think that's good.
I think that's great.
All right, so let's get into discussing news for this week, which is starting to pick up. You'd think it was something like 50 days before Comic-Con.
Yeah.
All right, Carrie, why don't you start us off?
Okay, I'm going to start off with something that happened over the weekend, which is NerdHQ started accepting volunteer applications for 2015. And so basically a week or so ago, they announced that, yes, NerdHQ is officially happening. We don't really know any details yet. If I had to guess, I would say it'll be just like always, Thursday to Sunday during the convention. Wednesday will probably still be set up. We don't know a location, but we do know it won't be at Petco Park, because the Nerdist and what sounds like Geek and Sundry will be taking over that space. So we're still waiting for that, but if you would like to help out NerdHQ, you have between now and Sunday, May 24th to go and fill out an application. Be aware that just because you fill out an application doesn't actually mean that they will accept you. It's my understanding that every year they do deny quite a few people, but it's a really cool thing to do. We were actually taking a couple of photos backstage of NerdHQ last year while they were doing the volunteer introduction, and it looked really cool. It looked like everybody was having a great time. You get to hang out a little bit with Zach, so that's cool.
Probably one of the reasons why they have to turn away people. They probably get quite a few people requesting, just like Comic-Con does. So
yep.
They can't fit everyone. There's only so many jobs that need doing.
Right. But if you're interested, like I said, applications close on Sunday, May 24th, so go fill it out this week. And then for some other news, Hasbro actually unveiled the first real lineup of panels that we've seen so far. I mean, we know of a couple other things that are coming, but Hasbro basically just laid out all of their panel plans today, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So on Thursday, they'll be having a couple panels for Transformers. On Friday, it'll be My Little Pony, and then at 12 is going to be Hasbro Star Wars. And this one should be really good because we've heard some rumblings that Hasbro is actually going to unveil the first look at the Star Wars The Force Awakens line. And so if I had to guess, I would say that panel would be a very good one to attend if you're into that. And then on Saturday is the Hasbro Marvel panel, which should also be a pretty good time. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is big news though, because a week or so ago, Comic-Con International started sending out panel confirmations to everybody, and so as we get closer, we're just going to get more and more panel confirmations. So. Yeah.
And we may not always get specific times and rooms like these, but more and more people will start announcing that they're having a panel, and so we'll start seeing the schedule come together.
Which is my favorite.
All right, Sully, you want to take the Mattel news?
Yeah, I know you guys talked a little bit last week about kind of the first round of Mattel reveals, but they got some more information out this week. First up, the Ever After High Raven Queen, which not something I'm going to be collecting, but I know there's some fans out there, right? And
then my God, yes, it's been everywhere on social media.
Carrie's going to be standing in line for that one.
No.
Remember, that's not her world.
No, it's not.
Well, maybe the second one is the Thomas and Friends Super Friends Minis, which is a mashup of Thomas the Train and DC superheroes. Something I never thought I'd see in my life. But there are 5 mini mashups that'll be available at Comic-Con. Diesel as the Dark Knight, which is an SDCC exclusive. Thomas as Superman, of course. Spencer as Cyborg, D10 as the Joker, and Millie as Harley Quinn. And by the sounds of it, it's a one big package deal where you get them all. But the exclusive is really that Diesel as the Dark Knight, and I guess the others will be available elsewhere after the con.
So how ironic is it that these are DC Thomas trains when in Ant-Man a Marvel property. They're fighting
Oh.
Thomas Train.
Nice. They're riding the fence.
That's a little weird.
Yeah.
They're double dipping. How dare they?
Yeah, exactly. Someone in the brand management of one of those two companies didn't work things out right.
That's pretty funny.
Those are really cool, though. Those are
Thomas
actually
will
really
appear
cool.
in the movies, but all the figures will be DC. Yeah.
Here we go.
All right. I guess I'm up.
Yeah,
My
you
turn.
are.
Okay, so keeping on the exclusives track, Mezco has been releasing a new exclusive every couple of days, it seems.
Mhm.
And after the Scorpion was announced just before our podcast last week, they have now announced
4
more. Yeah. So the first one announced last week was the Saul Goodman figure. It's a 6-inch figure with a deluxe window box. That one is already on sale for the pre-sale. It is still available, so you can go pick that up on their website. Then after that, they announced the Heisenberg figure, which is a 12-inch figure with removable hat and sunglasses and glasses, and there's a variant version. So you can still, again, pick those up at SDCC or order them online, and that one is also still available. And that one went on sale on the 15th, so it's available to purchase. The next one they announced, also on the 15th, was the Living Dead doll Walpurgis, which was previously an exclusive in Germany. It's now a SDCC exclusive, 10 inches tall, removable mask. This one actually sold out online.
It's the only one that sold out.
Right. And that one actually just went on sale yesterday, so it sold out pretty quickly. So right now, if you didn't order it online, your only chance to get it is if you're going to Comic-Con to pick one up. And then the final one. Yeah, it's a little weird looking, but I think that's the point of those things.
Yes.
The next one is just today, they unveiled the Poison Ivy Mini Metzitz Clip-On, which also comes with a special random bonus item. These are a clip-on suitable for backpacks or keys, things like that. You can get it by pre-order, which starts Thursday the 21st, or you can pick it up at the booth, just like all of these are. That one, since it was just announced today, is not yet on sale, as we mentioned. So it looks like they're basically going to be announcing a few still to come, because they're announcing quite a few of them. We've had 4 in a week. Who knows how many they're going to have, but it looks like they're going to keep on going.
I think they had like 12 maybe last year. So
at the current rate, they should be done in about 2 weeks.
yeah, I'd say that's about right.
All right. And then next, we have a little bit, again, of panel news that came from PJ Haarsma, the producer of Con Man, Alan Tudyk's new web series that was funded. In a special Hang With chat last week, PJ was asked about Comic-Con and Nerd HQ plans. And he said, okay, panel is Thursday the 9th. I think it's at 3:45. It's right between Doctor Who and Marvel. And then we'll be doing press in the morning, and then after, hopefully, there'll be a party somewhere, and we'll announce it. And then Friday, Alan's going to be hosting Nerd HQ, and we'll be doing a Con Man panel at Nerd HQ, and then partying there Friday night.
So he basically just laid it all out.
That is a lot of information in one answer. Now, we cannot obviously assume that he knows exactly what he's talking about for the between Doctor Who and Marvel, because they send out panels for Comic-Con with just your panel. He may have heard it some other way, or in talking to someone else, or they may have let him know for judging crowd size. We also don't know what Doctor Who and Marvel that is. That could be TV, that could be comics. We have no idea because we don't know what room. So it's just we know it's on Thursday, we know what time, roughly, and that they're going to be at Nerd HQ, and that they're going to be having a party. Both looks like a Con Man specific party on Thursday night and a Nerd HQ party on Friday night is what that sounds like to me. Right?
That's how I read it too.
Mm-hmm.
And also that Alan will be hosting Nerd HQ on Friday, which happened a couple years ago when Nathan and Alan helped host for a couple of the days because Zach needed to save his voice for Broadway.
So what that could mean, though, is that could be the day that we're getting Heroes Reborn over in the convention center, and so Zach could be potentially tied up with promoting that, either through the panel or press or combination of all those.
If they're doing a panel that day, I mean, you don't just need to be there for that 1 hour of the panel.
Right.
There's who knows how long for the individual interviews for the larger media, the round tables, which are usually around an hour or so for the rest of the media, plus whatever comes after. So yeah, they basically need them for hours just to promote what may be just the one panel.
Yeah, so I think that's a good bet.
Yeah. And it's a good synergy because obviously Alan wants to promote his web series as much as possible, and he's good friends with Zach, and he's done it before. Yeah. So it all works for them.
Now, have you been to Nerd HQ, Sully?
Yeah, I've gone. I went 4 years ago, and then last year I spent a day there, making sure to go because I wanted to catch the Alan Tudyk, Nathan Fillion auction that they always do.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I ended up walking away with a couple autographs from Fillion last year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I got out of control on bidding. He was putting out some watches, but when they got to $300, I had to walk away.
That's funny.
Yeah, Nerd HQ is a blast. I've always had fun there, so I'm anxious to see what they do this year, where they move to, and how they work their panels.
I am too. I'm very curious. I mean, at the same time, though, they've had 3 locations in, 5 years? So I kind of feel like they're pretty used to moving.
Yeah, they can make it work no matter where they go.
They've got it down.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they have room to hold those panels and do all the other stuff they need, then it's not a problem where they are, because wherever they pick, unless it's 3 miles out, it's going to be something that is available to the attendees for whoever wants to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not like the tickets aren't going to sell out for some of those panels in 13 seconds again or whatever it was.
I've actually never been able to buy a ticket to a single panel. I've always missed. Last year I just got lucky. I stood in line. It was a mystery panel, and they happened to be the one that I really wanted to go to, so it worked out. Yeah, they sell in seconds.
Oh, I know. I am forever proud. Go ahead.
No, go.
I am forever proud. The Doctor Who panel sold out in 11 seconds, and I got second row for that. That's like my... Wow. I'm never going to top that.
That was a great one, too.
So.
I got lucky last year. It was the first time I'd ever done Nerd HQ. I got tickets to Supernatural, a huge fan, and when I came to get into my seat, I was sort of like in the middle, like the very middle, and everybody was already seated. And this Wrangler woman was just like, ugh, just go sit down in the front row. And I'm like, okay.
All right, I guess.
Yeah, I almost died.
It was kind of nice last year, actually. They used to be a lot more strict about, like, sit where you're supposed to. But last year they were like, whatever, we just want to get people in. So just, like, line up in your order and then just filter in. And so half the time you didn't even wind up in the row you purchased for. So.
Which could be a good or a bad thing. Like if you're a photographer and you want to get some good photos and you're like, okay, the seat I got is awesome, it's right in the center, and then they just fill in just wrong, all of a sudden you're like way off to a side, which is not the good side, and it's like, so. But yes, it could be good. So that was a lot of good news.
But we're not done.
I know.
We've got more.
Ben!
I've got good news. All right. I've got information on, they announced that there's going to be a SpongeBob table read. Right now it is a contest on Facebook where fans can pick which of 6 episodes is the one that they're going to read. So it'll end up being a fan favorite, which is neat. It's got a little bit of the interactive aspect to it. I am not personally a SpongeBob fan, but my nephews love it. And I'm never really a fandom hater of any kind. Even if I don't appreciate it or it's not my thing, I get excited for other people or just excited that it exists. And I think that'll be really huge for some SpongeBob fans. I went to a table read a couple of years ago where the cast of ABC Family's Middleman got to do a read-through of the script of the finale episode that they never got to film, and it was so awesome. Just seeing the chemistry of the cast and the way they played off of each other, and it was like being behind the scenes, but better. And it felt like you were getting to see, I don't know, kind of like a moment in history that wasn't going to repeat itself. So that was really exciting for me. And then the other news that we have is...
Real quick, I just wanted to say, so where is that table read going to happen, Ben?
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
At the SpongeBob panel.
The SpongeBob panel.
Yes.
Which is going to be in Hall H.
It sounded like it ended with a question mark.
we have no idea where the panel is going to be.
I doubt.
Right. It says something about Hall H. I don't know. Yes.
They didn't have a panel last year except for the TV show, but instead they were part of Paramount's Hall H panel for the SpongeBob Out of Water movie. That's where Hall H came in. But this year I would assume not Hall H.
Probably not.
No, I doubt it.
All right, you can continue.
All right, and then our other news is it has been, in a roundabout way, announced that the CW's TV show, The 100, will be there to support Season 3. It was announced that they were renewed, and some fans were a little upset because it is a mid-season premiere date, so we'll be getting more episodes of Season 3 in January. But Season 1 and Season 2 were both also 13 episodes, so it's going to be pretty similar to what we should expect, a half season, which is what a lot of shows are doing these days. And it was announced by one of their writers on Tumblr. She was kind of calming down some of the fans, like, hey, we know we're not going to be here until January, but the good news is that we will be at Comic-Con, and I think that got some people really excited. I really like The 100. I'm a huge fan of the CW going all the way back to the WB. I love everything about it. I am its target audience. I won't go so far as to say that I like every show, but The 100 is really fun. And I don't know, if you haven't watched it, you should probably check it out.
I got to agree with that. I finally sat down and watched a couple episodes about 6 months ago and ended up finishing the first 2 seasons in like a week.
It's good.
It's a really fun show.
It's moving up my list of shows that I need to watch, which, as most people, Carrie knows, is just an ever-expanding list of things that we need to watch. Oh, yeah, you should watch that. Okay, I'll put it on my list.
We got a guy like that on our podcast, too.
We watch like one show. Okay. I am almost done with Chuck. Come on.
Oh, my God.
Almost done.
James.
Wow.
No.
I still haven't finished Chuck. I'm terrible, but
What is with you people?
I know. And
I was upset with myself for not finishing Daredevil in the first day.
Oh. And then for the sake of bad jokes, I think James was saying that his list of shows to watch is like 100, and the 100 is at 100, but slowly moving up to like 98.
It's like 20 now instead of 60.
It's definitely moving up the list. It's definitely moving up.
He'll get to it in about 50 years. Don't worry.
No. 3 to 5.
3 to 5. Okay, 3 to 5 we've got a timeline.
Sounds like a sentence. What did you do wrong?
Many shows to watch. Yeah.
All right, moving on. we are also 50 days away from something else, which is Enchantment under the SDCC.
Yay!
As I think everybody knows, the campaign is over. The party is officially on. We're so excited. Warner Archive is officially in, so everybody gets an awesome Warner Archive DVD again this year. Yay!
Cool.
And we have bags. You have no idea how excited I am that we have bags.
You have something to carry all of the swag home in.
Yes, I know. But We Love Fine is giving everybody a bag, so they make really cool bags.
Yay!
So should be good. So But that's not all that's been going on this week. James, you want to tell us about a couple other quick little things?
So on, I think it was on Instagram, the artist Dennis Calero put out a drawing of what is coming out for another Vikings SDCC comic. And they have given away comics in the past, and they handed them out the panel, and it looks like they're probably going to do that again. So it kind of is like your sideways approval that, hey, there's another Vikings panel coming. So, but at the very least, there will be a Vikings giveaway. So it's not guaranteed it's going to be at the panel, but it's probably going to be at the panel. So, yay, panel! Also, in a bit of a new thing, AMC, the theater chain, right?
Yep.
Well, kind of.
Yeah.
It is AMC, but it's AMC Movie News, which is their like news team.
And they're going to be there. They're going to have panels.
Yeah, I don't understand this either.
So are they going to become like the new TV Guide, you know, the Women Kick Ass, the men panel? Are they going to do something like that, or the favorites? They may be doing something similar to that, but for movies. Who knows? But there might be meet and greets, which maybe there's some off-site stuff. If they're doing meet and greets, it's got to be an off-site.
I have a very unfortunate feeling that the meet and greets are probably just with like, come meet the AMC Movie News reporters.
Aww. No.
I could be wrong. That's
really awesome.
I was kind of, sort of excited.
And
She just rained on your parade.
That's all I do.
It's just a little weird. I understand it because they may be moving into the TV Guide territory. Who sets up panels? So I get that. So that actually could be a cool thing, because we may get some more not specific, specific movie themed panels, but gathering people from multiple things into one panel, which really helps for the people who, if there's someone from True Blood they want to see that's on the TV Guide panel, they don't necessarily then have to make a choice to be at the True Blood panel because they can see their favorite person on the TV Guide panel.
Yep.
And then I have actually, in my Comic-Con history, never attended one of those girls that kick butt or guys in movies and TV shows or whatever panels.
Brave
And then last year...
Brave New Warriors or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever. Yeah. But last year, there was one sandwiched in between two things that I really wanted to see, and I was like, sure, I'll sit through this, whatever, it's probably cool. And it had, I'm terrible with names, but it had people from Sleepy Hollow and American Horror Story, and Natalie Dormer was there from, I don't know if it was Game of Thrones or if it was Hunger Games or whatever, but it was really neat because you saw some of the people answered things sort of like sheepishly or generically, and some of the people gave like really good, really passionate answers. Natalie Dormer had like 0 filters on, which was astonishing. Yeah. I loved it, and I think the other ladies were really uncomfortable, which was also kind of fun to watch. But yeah, I think if you haven't attended one of those panels, maybe check it out.
Yeah, those are fun.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
I think she did almost essentially the same thing at the Women Kick Ass panel in Hall H on Saturday, but in that instance, they were all people who were kind of there to be the same, and her no filter approach actually didn't cause the others any problems because they were all in a similar mindset, I think. It was an awesome panel.
Yeah.
So there's also some other news. Does anyone want to pick up that one?
I will, but first I want to read a news tidbit from our Q&A because it's about my soul animal. So Im Nelson said that, not a surprise, but special guest Katie Cook announced on Facebook today they confirmed her Spotlight on panel. So
yes.
Aww.
Which we obviously assume, since they're special guests, that they're getting a spotlight.
Yes.
But there's confirmation.
Yes. So you can go see Katie Cook. Back in time, the Back to the Future documentary they will also be there. Ben, you wrote this up. Are they going to have a panel?
They are.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, they just don't have any details released yet. They just announced that there will be one, and details are forthcoming, so that's really cool.
Gotcha.
Considering that our party is Back to the Future themed, this is something that we obviously are interested in. I saw the panel at WonderCon, and it was the first time I had ever heard of this documentary, and it just looks really cool.
I've heard good things. Also going on is Nerdist is teaming up with ESET to give away basically a Nerdist VIP kind of Comic-Con experience. It doesn't actually come with Comic-Con badges. What? But you get like priority access to all of the Nerdist activations over at Petco Park. You get to go to their parties. You get just all kinds of really cool Nerdist stuff. You also, yes, you get a hotel.
So,
you basically get everything except Comic-Con badges and then a whole bunch of Nerdist stuff.
It is not a Nerdist giveaway package, though, if it does not guarantee a Chris Hardwick selfie.
I'm sure that can be arranged.
Yeah.
It better be guaranteed. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I read the rules and regulations. It did not mention a Chris Hardwick selfie. Aww. I'm just rating on everything for you today, James.
You're going to have to fight for that. You're going to have to fight for that Hardwick selfie.
That's right. But you can go on right now to ESA has a page, and they basically just want you to come up with a slogan for they've got a mascot android, and he's fighting the viruses that plague our great internet. So come up with a caption for that, and you could win a Nerdist VIP contest. Captain Action / Lady Action, they are debuting a new Lady Action book at Comic-Con. And then Walker Stalker Fan Fest, which is basically the Walking Dead fan run offsite that's going to be at Petco this year. They added 3 more guests, which includes Chad Coleman. That's the biggest name that they added this week. You can go find on our sites. So, is that about it?
Yeah. Oh, don't forget, Carrie wrote an awesome article covering the broadcast TV shows that we are expecting or hoping to see at Comic-Con this year. Coming up on Wednesday, which for us right now is tomorrow, will be the cable version of that article, which cable shows, and then apparently she has to get her act together to write the family shows one, which will be coming out soon. And next month, we are going to have Eric Goldman from IGN on to discuss all of these possible TV shows in depth and go over what may and may not be there based on what he knows. So that should be awesome.
Yeah, thanks for that article, Carrie. That ended up taking out about 2 hours out of my day because I watched every video for the TV shows that I hadn't seen.
Is the Supergirl trailer not super awesome?
It looks amazing.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job.
I did too, and I love the beginning of it, which is like, hey, look, it's another CW type show for 2 minutes of, it's work problems, it's boy problems. Oh no, and no, it's a superhero. It's awesome.
It does look really good. What are you most excited about, Sully?
I was most surprised by the Frankenstein trailer. I forget exactly the title of that show, but that one looked really intriguing. But Limitless looked really good, and the fact that they got Bradley Cooper to have a recurring role on the series, it's actually based on the movie he was in. Looks pretty awesome.
I have a really good feeling that is going to be the CBS What Is This Doing Here pilot of the year.
Otherwise known as Carrie's Nap.
Yeah, Carrie's Nap every year. But it's seriously. I mean, everybody says Supergirl, but CBS doesn't make Supergirl, so CBS isn't actually the one who brings Supergirl. It's WB. So I think
that means it's going to be, if they do it again, it's going to be in that Warner Brothers block in Hall H on Saturday night.
It could be, and I think it'll probably also get its own panel at a better time in Ballroom 20. But I think probably if they give CBS the Thursday morning again, I think I will be sleeping. So.
Yeah. All right.
Last year I did Hall H all day. I think Friday and Saturday, like a crazy person. And I ducked out before the huge block of the WB shows or whatever. And in hindsight, I'm totally sad that I missed that. I mean, if I'd stayed, I would have slept through it, but it would have been like really interesting dreams or something.
Yeah,
But, yeah. If
that
they do
was
that
definitely.
again,
I stayed and I slept through Gotham, the pilot, because lack of sleep and all day in Hall H, and also you missed, of course, seeing live Amel's abs.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
some people really
Always
don't
impressive.
want to see those in person.
Yep. So you missed out. No, it was really awesome. That was an amazing thing that they did, bringing out something like 40 people from the 4 shows. So it was cool.
And hopefully they do it again.
Yeah, I hope so. Because I want another long day. I love
need
long
sleep.
days.
It's Comic-Con. You don't need sleep,
Nah.
food, or anything.
I'm getting old, though. I'm wearing down. They're wearing me down after 20-something years. I need a nap. I need one of Terry's naps every day. What panel can I sleep? I've slept through the worst things. I slept through the exclusive new footage of The Hobbit a few years ago. I slept through that 12-minute reel.
Aww.
They turned the lights out. I was like, lights are out, nap.
James, you're doing the sleeping through panels thing all wrong.
I know.
Well, you can at least say you were there.
Yeah, I guess.
My stranger danger prevents me from sleeping in places where there are people alive and walking and talking, and so I don't do that.
Dude, the last 2 years I've gone to our party and then immediately like camped out all night. Like Thursday morning, first panel, I'm like, whatever, I am sleeping. So
Wow.
yeah.
Maybe I'll try it.
You just gotta push yourself to the point of exhaustion and then you'll sleep anywhere.
Go get you that dollar air mattress.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And during the panel, at least I have someone to fall over into who's not going to hit me or anything.
That's
Thank you,
good.
Beth.
That's always a plus.
All right, so as usual, all these little news bits and everything, because there's a lot more coming now because we're getting close to Comic-Con and it's happening, is our Under the Tents column, which Ben tends to handle for us. So thank you, Ben. There's lots of news, and it's coming fast and furious. So keep an eye on that. Or you can subscribe to our mailing list, which goes out every Tuesday. And Sarah puts that together, so thank you, Sarah. You can find out how to do that on our site or in the show notes. So, yeah, news, lots of it.
And there's more coming.
And more of it, and then even more, and then even more.
Really quick, I wanted to interject something. Just there was something in the questions that is worth noting. It was a fun comment. The WB block was amazing, plus water and popcorn, the best swag after a long day. That sounds awesome.
I actually still have the bottles of water sitting on my end table. And I never drank them. Yeah.
This is what every
even take
panel
them-
should do, really.
I didn't even take them out of the bag until like 3 months ago.
And then because we're mentioning people by name, Sarah with the newsletter and me with the Under the Tents, I don't know if Lisa ever gets enough credit. Lisa is a behind-the-scenes person by choice, but she does a ton of our research, and she trolls the SDCC hashtag so you don't have to, and comes up with so much of the stuff that we find and report on, and she is amazing. So shout out to Lisa.
Lisa is basically the only reason I am in any way sane. God bless Lisa.
I don't even know. I don't even look at the linked list if I can help it because it's just.
She is amazing. Like, I don't even understand where she finds things. I used to think I was good, and then she came on, and I'm like, nope, you're just magic.
Y'all blow me
No
away sometimes when you find those individual tweets from an artist that's buried down as a response to President Obama's tweet.
Yeah.
That boggles my mind how y'all find that stuff.
She has a list of like 40 hashtags that she searches. I'm not even kidding. She said it to us once, and it's like insane.
And it's all in the inclusion and exclusion.
Yes. Like you have to exclude eBay.
How to exclude bets.
Ah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a magic thing she does, and every day we're thankful that she gets in there and does it, because some of us, would not ever be able to do something like that.
Well, and I found a fun one today. Sully did a shout out to an artist that he found with a picture of his work, saying that he was excited about tonight's Flash finale. And the guy's work is amazing. He's at Lord Mesa, and so he was the first person that I have added to the links list, and I will be excited to write up about him being in Artist Alley. So, yay! I'm proud and excited about that.
We got one. I got one.
Well, technically, I got one.
Yeah, totally got one.
And now we're gonna steal it. So thank you.
That was Lord Mesa's Flash drawing.
Nice.
That's cool.
Great. All of it was Flash and Arrow, like his entire Instagram. He's a giant WB fan like us.
Very cool. All right. So in closing, because we got to wrap this sucker up, be sure to check out our show notes for more information about our sponsor, 3D Light Effects, and their brand new line of Star Wars cordless 3D deco lights. And the first of 3 balding guys. How do you like that, Carrie? You are on with 3 extremely handsome balding guys. So just wanted to point that out.
Me.
Chris, Sully, where can we find more of your work?
Well, I am one half of NerdFoo. The other half, Steve, is on vacation. But you can find us at thenerdfoo.com. We spend a lot of time on Facebook. We're just NerdFoo. Twitter, The Nerdfoo, and, of course, Instagram. And we do a weekly podcast. We record on Wednesdays almost every week. I say that. We're recording Thursday this week. And we normally post Thursday or Friday morning.
Awesome.
Nice.
Carrie.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Carrie Dixon, or manning the blog's Twitter at SD_comic_con. You can also find all of our work collectively at sdccblog.com.
And Ben, where can we find more of your work?
And as a huge slacker with not a lot of work, you can only find me at on Twitter with @HelloBK, or a good amount of the UTT stuff, the stuff Carrie doesn't do.
You got to be quick to get ahead of Carrie on that line there.
I'm Central Time. To be fair, I'm Central Time, so I wake up like 2 hours before you guys.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's fair. All right,
James, where can we find more of my work on? Oh, sorry. Oops. Just kidding. I know what I'm saying. You can find me Twitter, Flickr, Tumblr, etc., etc. Dan Regal, at Dan Regal, Dan Regal something. And you can also check out geekshotphoto.com, our website that features the work of my wife and I. That's about it for me, I think.
We are on iTunes. If you would like to subscribe, the links are up on the blog, or search for SDConCast. If you like what you've heard so far, please review us. We're also on Stitcher Radio. The link is in the show notes. And where else can people get a hold of us, James?
You can send us an email at sdcomiccon.blog@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/sdconblog, or tweet us at sd_comic_con. I think that's it for this week. Thank you, Sully, for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was an honor and a privilege to join you guys after listening for 4 or 5 years now.
Well, you're welcome back anytime.
Yes.
All right, I'll see you next week.
Go for it. And I believe next week we are actually going to have a very special guest. I'm not going to say who just yet, but should be good. So,
Yay.
Thanks for listening, and until next week.
Until then, everybody,
go.
Go.
That's the worst.